Good morning. All right. So, funny thing happened to me. Not really funny, but just interesting. So, usually I start the show off with coffee. However, I decided today, it wasn't decided. I woke up late and a couple things happened last night. Okay. Usually I prep anywhere from 2 to 1 day before I do the show. And the reason for that is super, super simple. I do that so I kind of know what to talk about, what to do. That's not going to be 100% the case this day. This day? Today. So I started off late, so I started last night. Well, I did one earlier, but I didn't get both my videos down packed in my head because it is a process of, is this good to talk about? Is this really low hanging fruit? Because last week I did low hanging fruit with Holly Dolk. And she has a lot of people similar to her, and we will have to address those eventually. However, I want to get more into that area I want to talk about, more positive videos where instead of just shitting all over it because it's really bad, I want to talk about videos that have more value than that. Oh, I might have cussed too early for the YouTube algorithm. Not like it matters though. Okay, number two. A buddy of mine recommended I cover Jax Blade's Batman video, and I was looking into it. I was looking into the other Batman training videos, and man, right? They are interesting. I've seen a few of them before, but I didn't think of them in the context of this show. So what I'm thinking is next week we might do a Batman arc, where we do 2 videos about how to train like Batman. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you'll dislike it. Maybe it'll blow up and everyone will be like, whoa, this is awesome. Or they'll be like, whoa, this is shit. Whatever. Number 3, I ended up starting to play this game. It was I'm gonna admit it, it was Yu-Gi-Oh! It was online Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was surprisingly fun, except for it's not the game I remember as a kid. Because as a kid, it was a lot simpler. Now it's all kinds of complicated. But I was messing around with that. So I am a bit late. And I didn't wake up early enough to start my coffee. So instead, I have lemonade. And some of you might be thinking, that's not healthy. It's fine. It's water and lemons and sugar. I guess lemon juice is probably mostly sugar also. But quick energy without the caffeine is fine. Anyway, so today, and actually, I was thinking maybe I could turn this into a class themed um a class themed podcast. I don't know, Coach Swolepool's Sunday sessions. I don't know why I said Coach Swolepool because none of you know that's my internet name because Swolepool. Y'all might know me as Coach. Some of you from Discord might know me as Swolepool. I don't know. I haven't figured out a persona for this channel yet. It's just me talking about stuff. I'm sorry, guys. While on the mic, I didn't mean to. Gotta remember to back away from that. I hate people who will consistently suck at audio without ever figuring out, just tweak here and tweak there, and you can make things work. I'm working on it. This video, I want to have pretty clear conversations. I want to slow down a little bit. That's the goal here. Anyway, so what we are covering is Sadik Hadzovic. Sadik Hadzovic. His name's Sadik. His name is Sadik Sonic. Yep, his name's Sadik. I had a Sonic baby. Whatever. He has a back and biceps workout. He had another video, but it was on muscle and strength. And I was going to cover that, but instead I want to cover this one. That way I could talk about, so I can send you to his channel instead of an aggregate channel, which isn't a bad thing anyway. Obviously, it's also good, but I want to do this. And the second video we're going to cover is Erin Stern's top 10 Smith machine exercises. That one I did review. Well, most of it. I have some criticisms, but I think that one's pretty good. I did not get to review the Sadik one. So, these videos are a little less popular than what I go for. But I want to talk about, stuff they do, how they can improve, what are they doing right. This is definitely more of a critique session than a trashing session. And actually, I think last time was pretty critique heavy after Holly. Interestingly enough, my last podcast, it got copyright claimed. That's not a strike. A strike is like, oh, you can't new video. Claim is like, hey, we're going to put ads on your video and we are going to make money. Which sucks. But it was a reminder that I have to be a little more strategic with how I review these videos. Because they got me on music. I don't think it was the music from her. It was like some other company. And I don't want to have to go through that because, it's a gamble to play chicken with them. So whatever. But anyway. So yeah, we're going to approach these ones a bit slower, a bit more analytical. We're going to make sure we do this right. Because I was kind of rushing a little bit in the last time. I was rushing a little bit last time because I had to go to the bathroom. If you saw that episode, you know I suddenly had to take a shit because the coffee does that to you. But yeah, 2 videos. We're going to cover it. Here we go. Okay, so let's start off with Sadik. Before we begin, let's talk about everything right here. This is his channel, the full description, my full back thickness and bicep workout. I do this workout every Thursday to bring up my lagging body parts. Follow along and execute the full routine with tips. Then he has his coaching. I don't know how good his coaching is. We can always look. We can give it a little peekaboo. I don't know if this is a sponsor or just something he really likes. And then he has a Celsior YouTube channel. I don't know what that one is. Might be more bloggy. And then we have his comments. But yes, this is his channel right here. So if you want to look at him, check him out. Go check him out. Maybe after this video you might not want to. Maybe after this video you might want to. So who knows? So let's go ahead and get started. Now, he has cringe, whatever kind of music he has. So I'm going to actually turn it down a little bit. Or we can always just rewind. Holy crap, that's loud for me, so let me turn that down on my side. Boop. Actually, I can turn it down on my headphones.
We are doing back thickness and bicep day. One of my favorite days of the week. We're going to do about 2 heavy.
Okay, so let's criticize his appearance real quick. Okay, great physique. I wish he had a mustache. I don't know. Something about his face is telling me mustache. His hair is glorious. Whatever. Okay, let's keep going.
Back movements, followed by 3 or 4 heavy bicep movements.
You know what I appreciate? This isn't super loud. A lot of videos, the little subscribe and like thing is very, very loud. I know we're making little judgments about the video, but we haven't gotten all the way in yet.
We go from 15 to 12, from 12 to 10.
So, okay, let's talk about this real quick. I hate the music. Okay? But he's not randomly turning it down to get a word in here and there like Holly Dolk. So that's already good. Right? You're not annoying your audience. So they can focus on what you have to say.
10, and then to 8. All right, so we'll put the quarter on, then 3 plates, and 3 1/4. Sounds about right? Let's do it.
Okay, so he's using Versa grips here. They're a lot like lifting straps, but I've actually never used Versa grips. I want to. I should get some just to give them a little shot. But yeah, they're pretty interesting stuff. They are pretty interesting stuff. That's weird. They are an interesting accessory. Obviously, they are unneeded, but they do provide some help with your grip. So we have a slightly different lat pull down machine than you would expect. Usually it's with the cable. This one is with a pulley system and weights at the back. So interesting. Okay, so let's talk about criticism. Okay, there's not much to criticize here. One moment, everyone. Okay, I'm back. What was I saying? So quick criticism. Let's see. I gotta see his range of motion.
So I did something wrong.
Full range of motion. At least his partner did. I didn't see what he did. I can rewind, but I'm not going to because he's about to say something. Form looks great. Not much to say there.
Anytime you're in a gym and you want to feel more intensity, don't just put the plate on, okay? Don't put the plate on. You got to slam the plate. That's how you bring out the intensity.
Okay. So he's also a funny guy. Always good. We always like a charismatic guy teaching us how to coach. I mean, not teaching us how to coach. Coaching us up a little bit. Teaching us how to train. You know, it helps when you're a little charismatic. Oh, here we go. I can see. Okay, so I don't know if the machine is limiting him a little bit because he does seem like a tall guy with long arms. But see right here? He could probably go a little bit higher. Now, this isn't bad by any means, but I honestly think he could probably get all the way up if the machine would allow. The machine allows him to get all the way where his arms are almost perpendicular to the floor. That would be better. That is a full stretch, and I think he's missing that. So, honestly, I think that could be a little bit better. Not terrible, though. Like, still pretty good range of motion. Okay? He's being explosive on the concentric. And in this exercise, the concentric, usually say, you know, you want to be explosive on the way up and slow and controlled on the way down. So explosive on the concentric and slow and controlled on the eccentric. However, for a pulling exercise, it's almost the opposite as far as up and down goes. You want to be explosive on the down because you're pulling. And then you want to be slow and controlled on the way up. Because the concentric is when you're pulling, and the eccentric is when you're releasing. There is a little more body English than I would like. Body English being like, hey, I'm swinging my body to move the weight. I would prefer if they could be a little bit stricter with this movement. Like, maybe a little bit of motion, but I think they are reaching the threshold of too much body English.
Everything's heavy. Conrad's about 295 pounds right now. So
295? Jesus.
it's hard to keep up. Come on. Yeah.
Okay, so when I said the arms perpendicular, I did forget they have a wide grip. So maybe a little bit higher, but their arms would never get perpendicular to the ground because of their wide grip. So that's my bad. Yeah, definitely too much body English, I think. There's too much swaying.
2 tips on this machine, or any lat pull down for that instance. It's number 1, use your hands as hooks. All right? I don't like to use a thumb grip. I like to hook my hands and focus on driving down my elbow. The lower I go with the elbow, the more contraction we get in my.
Okay, so yes and no. Sorry, I covered up my mouth a little bit. Yes and no. So having a hook grip on the any pull down is okay. But honestly, 2 things. 1, if you're comfortable with that and you can get a great mind muscle connection and whatever, that's fine. But you probably will be more secure with a full closed grip. That's what I like to do. That's what a lot of people do. Full closed grip, especially because it allows you to squeeze the bar. Right? This is a tip that a lot. I meant to do another person's workout actually for this. I forgot, so I'll have to get back to it. But when you are lifting and you want to move a lot of weight, squeezing the bar or whatever apparatus will help. I'm not exactly sure of the mechanism that explains why squeezing it as hard as you can helps, but it would definitely help him in this case. Now he's talking about the contraction, which, don't get me wrong, is important, is very important. However, the reason why you want to get your elbows further and further down and back is, pretty much you want to get full contraction, but you want to make the range of motion as big as possible within reason. If you stop with your elbows in line with your nipples, that's fine, and you can feel your lat. It's that's fine. But now try to pull your elbows down further. Oh, now you're getting more, and so on. But there's obviously a limit. You're not going to be able to get your elbows all the way, all the way behind you, where your hands are, where the bar of this machine's touching the top of your stomach. No, but you want to get as far as you can. I do like his pants. Okay, so now we have a rowing machine. I'm not sure if he's gonna use mostly machines for this workout, but big thing to note is that machines are great. Don't not use machines. Machines provide a stimulus that's a little bit different than free weights, being that they are more stable, so you can produce more force. But B, don't just use machines, I would say. Also use free weights, because you do have that stabilizing factor, and those stabilizers need to be trained as well. So use both. I like incorporating dumbbells, barbells, machines if I can, calisthenics, sandbags, as much as you can into a program as far as varieties sakes go. Like, you don't want to change weight out like every week, not significantly, but you do want to be able to use different modalities to train more effectively. Okay, so this is a chest supported row machine. Not much to say here. It's good for range of motion. I'm not in love with the grip, but it's fine. Too much body English. He is swaying a little bit too much. He should be sticking to that pad like he's glued onto it.
We are doing the chest supported T-bar row. The focus here is to build that back thickness.
This is pretty much the point of this whole workout, but go ahead.
Upper back, the traps, and really get these thick, juicy lats. What we're doing here is we're trying to keep our core tight, brace our core. We're trying not to lift our chest off the pad. That's why we're doing a chest support, and just drive back with those elbows.
Okay, so I'm glad we established that that's the goal. Your buddy's failing at it. I gotta see you again. But your buddy's not doing great at keeping his chest against the pad. He could be doing worse, but he's not doing great.
Elbows, that's a common theme here.
Yeah, no, you're doing it too. Like, okay. If you're doing this exercise, you might lift up a little bit. Okay, that's fine. But you really want to stick to that pad. Like, your nipples are on the pad, right? Your nipples should not leave the pad. Put them suckers on there and pretend like someone nailed them to the pad. Well, if they did that, then I guess you would want to lift up off the pad. Okay, I don't know what to tell you, but just try not to lift off the pad any more than you have to. As far as, so he's doing a little bounce at the bottom. Not great, but it's fine. 1 second. Okay, so he has a little bit better of a range of motion despite still using a lot of body English. Sadik could be doing a little bit better. He may need to work on his flexibility, I'm not sure.
So what we're doing here, guys, is progressive overload. Progressive overload is a fancy word for as the weight goes up, our repetitions come down.
No. He is fundamentally wrong on this one. Progressive overload. In fact, Greg Doucette explained it better in a simpler way. Work harder than last time. You don't need to do a huge amount different, but you need to do a little bit more. Case in point. Okay, we'll do 3 examples. Okay, example 1 is you're doing push-ups, right? This week you did 20. Next week, try to do 22. The week after that, try to do 24. That's progressive overload because you're doing a little bit more every time you come back to that exercise. That's one version. That's a rep version. Let's look at weight, okay? Let's say you're squatting 225 this week. Next week, I would want you to try to squat 235. and then 245, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's scenario 2. Scenario 3. This one might be a little more interesting. Okay, I want you, and these are just a few examples. There are dozens of ways to program this type of thing. Scenario 3. Okay, you're squatting 225 for 10 reps this week. Next week, I want you to get 225 for 12 reps. The week after that, I want you to get 225 for 14 reps. The week after that, I want you to go back to 10 reps, but we're going to move up to 235 and repeat. So that one's a little bit slower because you're building reps. And then when you hit a threshold, you reset the reps and you increase weight. So keep that in mind. So what he's saying is that as the reps go up, as the weights go up, the reps go down. Not necessarily. That is a method of doing it, but that's not. I don't even think that's the best way. I think there are much better ways to approach progressive overload. So I think he is just flat out wrong here. Not a great assessment on his part.
So we start light, 15 reps. We go medium, 12 to 10 reps. Then we go heavy, 6 to 8 reps. Right. 2 sets there.
Like I said, wait. Let's get a good look at his range of motion. Yeah, he could be doing better. You can see that he's getting a bit tired, and fatigue is catching up with him, but that's still not great.
All right, cable row, close grip attachment is next.
So the ads are coming up, and I'll mute it and let it play while I talk about a couple things.
Gym shirts stink.
Oh man, it's so rascal. I really
And the designs are boring.
I really hate this thing. We're skipping the ad, by the way. Like, yes, I skip ads, but actually, I want him to get the revenue. I'm gonna mute it. I'm gonna talk about why I don't like these ads. They are everywhere, and they are so. Because I like Omar, but these shirts, I've never gotten one. Okay, never got one of these shirts. These ads turn me off to these shirts. Like, man. I mean, if you want to get one, go ahead. I think they're very annoying. I mean, at least the commercials for them. Because they're almost as bad as the V-Shred commercials because they are so annoying. They pop up everywhere, and the fake deep voice, just not a fan. There we go. Hold on. Okay. So, let me tell you a lot of people's problem with this version of the cable row. People do not like this version of the cable row because it limits your range of motion. What do you mean? So, because it's a close grip, you can only get so far before, like, your hands become a limiting factor and you don't even know it. So, if you have a grip that's about your shoulder width apart, you can keep going back. Like, you can get a full range of motion. But if you have a close grip, wherever your body stops, you can't go any further. Now, if you have a wide grip, like a straight bar, same thing might happen, where your body becomes a limiting factor. But when you have a close grip, and it's like a rigid attachment, where a straight bar you can still get more range of motion. The close grip, essentially, it turns your elbows out. And you will be forced to stop shorter than you may want to. Like, have a look. You'll see it here. See, he stopped there because that's as far as his body will allow his hands to go. If his hands were wider, he could go even further. I'm actually pretty curious how he will justify this. See, they're not going past their body, they're right in line with it because of this grip not allowing them to go much further. Again, a little bit too much body English. It's not like a lot though. It is such a small amount that you might call this nitpicking, but I have to call it out because I want to be consistent.
Train like 14 times a week. I used to do those twice a day workouts. I don't know what was in my head.
That's funny he's saying that because I used to do 3-day workouts. I mean, three days, yes. So I do morning weights during period weights. So that's like during athletic periods, and then after school weights. I have like 2 protein shakes a day. Now you might be thinking, that's really stupid. Why would you do that? It might have contributed to my shoulder injuries and my hamstring injuries. But on the other side, I got pretty thick pretty fast. Like I gained a lot of strength really quickly. Also, 1 second. Wait, no. Mute the mic. Sorry about that. Alright, we're back now. Let's continue on.
Now looking back, I would never ever do that again. 2 heavy workouts a day I used to do. Crazy.
I totally agree. Like, it was, like, the fact that I was so young and, I guess, fresh is the only reason I could get away with that back then. If I did that now, it would never work. And I'm not that much older. I'm only 25, but it does make quite a difference. About 10 years.
Yeah, but who knows what I could have been if I took some rest. I might have been a different creature. But you can't tell a teenager like not to do more,
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. When you're young, dumb, and full of cum. That was weird. I don't know why I said that. That was a D12 reference. Oops. No, teenage boys are horny. Leave me alone. But yeah, so. But pretty much, you couldn't tell me otherwise. I think my dad told me several times, you need to chill a little bit, but I never listened. Now, granted, I got strong really fast, but also, interestingly enough, when I did get a little bit older, and I mean still teenager, but when I was forced to rest because of injuries, that's usually when like my biggest strength gains came. So, yeah, it's the downside of being like a teenager, man. Especially like a teenage boy with all that testosterone flowing. You just think you can run the world, but you really can't. Gotta take a step back.
Teenagers, they want to do more.
Too much body English. Okay, we said this twice already. Come on, man. Ugh.
So the way we're training right now is we use a system called periodization. So we'll keep the same exercises for 4 weeks. Each week we're gradually going to build up our strength. And once we get to our strongest, we're going to totally switch up our workouts and start building on the next strength.
Okay, so it's weird because it's really weird because he almost has the concepts. He almost has it. Periodization is essentially taking progressive overload and applying it over a period of time. You don't have to change exercises. You don't really have to change. It doesn't have to be 4 weeks. So periodization is cut into different cycles, right? You have a microcycle, you have a mesocycle, and you have a macrocycle. A macrocycle is like your big period. So say you're training for a Spartan race or like some kind of competition, or you just want to look a certain way in a year. That's your macro cycle. Your whole year. Okay? A mesocycle is a subset. So this is a month. Might be 2 months. Who knows? Depends on you. A microcycle, and this is not a part of every periodization plan, but it is a part of like more linear ones. This is about a week. Okay, it's a small segment. This is, hey, these are the exercises I'm going through this week, and then mesocycle's like, okay, I'm going through these this many times per this period, and then macrocycles, this is how many times I'm going through this entire mesocycle over this huge course of time. You don't need to change exercises. Not necessarily. Should you? I would say, yeah, more for variety and to limit the practice effect. And what the practice effect is you getting better at an exercise, not necessarily because you're stronger, but because you're just better at it. It could skew your results a bit. But should you train them should you switch exercises every 4 weeks? Not necessarily. It could be every 8 weeks. It could be after 2 8-week mesocycles. So like 16 weeks. Do you have to make big differences to your exercises that you change? Not necessarily. You can just make slight differences. Instead of a close grip cable row, you do a wide grip. Instead of a barbell bench press, you do a dumbbell bench press. So what he's saying is almost correct. And yes, over that period of time, you will get stronger or bigger in whatever things you're doing. And that's kind of the goal. You want to control it to where, okay, this is where I'm starting. This is where I want to end. And obviously you also have like your deloads where like you back off a bit, let your body recover, like a big recovery, not just a rest day, but like overall recover. Then you get back into it. Training is kind of complicated, but it's kind of not. Some people oversimplify it. A lot of people overcomplicate it. It's somewhere in between there, where there are a lot of concepts, but none of the concepts are hard to understand. There are just a lot.
After 4 weeks of that, we periodize and then do a different exercise. So we're constantly never letting the body settle and never getting used to not one movement. And it's like eating vanilla ice cream every day. So people that stick to the same workout, you're eating vanilla. Sometimes you want chocolate. Sometimes you want strawberry. So
yes, variety is a thing that does help with training. More so for entertainment value. The vast majority of us are not training for any life or death scenario. We do it because it's fun. And much like video games or anything else, much like food, like you said, ice cream, or TV, if you watch the same episode of TV every day, you'll get sick of it. If you play the same video game every single day and do the same thing every single day, you'll get sick of it. Even if you love the game, even if you love that food, you eat it every day, eventually you'll get tired of it. Because it's like, bleh. But like every so often, if you mix it up, it does help. So he's not particularly wrong here.
Always switch things up, keep things interesting, and keep things fun.
Don't always switch it up. Just enough. Just enough. Still, too much body English.
Nothing happens overnight, guys. Nothing happens overnight. It's gonna take a lot of mornings like this, waking up early when it's dark out, driving to the gym when you don't feel like driving to the gym, eating.
Or you could train at home and do other things than this, because this is not the only way to train. Some people work out in the morning, some people work out at night, some people work out in the middle of the day, some people like calisthenics, or sandbags, or resistance bands, some people like weights, or dumbbells, or whatever. Remember, there's no one way to work out. There's no one way to train. There's no one way to get big or get fast or whatever.
Eating the food when you don't feel like eating the food, and lifting the weight even when you don't feel like it. But this doesn't happen in a matter of a year or 2 years. This is a marathon. It takes an accumulation of years, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years in order to hit that physique that you're chasing. How many chickens? About 6 chickens a day. It's gonna come out to like $70 a day of food.
Come on, no. That's a lot of chicken. That's a lot of protein. Partially, I don't believe him. And secondly, you could accomplish that way easier with other methods. Like, come on. No. This is ridiculously, like, attempting to be old school.
60,000 chickens times 365 days in a year. It's a lot of chickens. All right, Conrad. 10? 10, baby. 10, 10. Last back movement. We're done with the back. Give me 240. Fuck it. Okay, my friend.
Like I said, he is... An ad's coming up. We'll mute it and talk over it.
Overtraining solution. Now, you look at the Ambrosia Collective.
Oh, no.
Like,
I might have some things to talk about here. Anyway, so him going up in weight when he's kind of already like running out of steam's not the best idea because his form's just gonna get worse. Anyway, let's listen to what Mark Lobliner has to say real quick.
going 100% at all times, like always being at our best. But we're known for doing these insane workouts and recovering day in and day out. From Mike boxing to Sean doing squats every day to me doing whatever the heck it is I do.
Terrible. That was awful. Not even good. Come on. Even for a push press, it should be for range of motion. That shouldn't count.
We need to recover. Recovery is key. So rather than going over all the awesome recovery fractions we have in Overtraining Solution, I think there's one thing we overlook. That's immunity. If you're immune...
Oh my fucking god, dude. What does that have to do with recovery? How about you don't fucking go super hard every day?
Immune system is off. You can't train optimally when you're sick. Have you ever tried, even with the sniffles, going in and having a really awesome workout? it doesn't work.
Yes, I have. I've done it. Like, it sucks, but, maybe your issue isn't being sick. I mean, it is. But maybe you have different issues. Like, God damn it. I hate when people try to sell stuff with this kind of attitude. It's like, hey, this stuff helps with your immunity. There you go. That's all you need to say. But instead, they want to present this idea, this situation that they caused themselves.
You're just not all there. So our goal is to be at our best all the time, not just on Tuesdays, not just every other Thursday.
Okay, so this is also this is a ridiculous idea. No one is at their best every single day. Even if you tried your very hardest, no one's at their best every day. You might get a lot of days, sure. There's some days you're not feeling it. There's some days where you're not mentally there. There's some days you're just tired. Now you can say, well, doing your best, doing today's best. I like the idea of do your today's best. You might feel like crap, but do what you can today. Instead, he wants to be like, oh, you should be at 100% every day. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. Even with your bullshit supplements, that's not going to happen. God, I hate ads like this. I mean, I hate ads, but I hate ones like this even more.
Hey, we want you to be your best Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, every single day. So how do we do that? We keep your immunity up.
I should really criticize Mike. What's his name? His name changed. I think it's like Mike King now and some bullshit. I should criticize him. That'd be something worth criticizing.
One of the ingredients in overtraining solutions is called imulina. Imulina, in my opinion, is the most advanced
I can't rewind.
immune system support ingredient.
In your opinion? Okay, where's your research for that? Because your opinion doesn't mean jack shit to me.
In the industry. And we have an industry exclusive on that in Overtraining Solution. So whether you're looking
Industry exclusive? What does that mean?
to just be able to go to work more often, whether you're looking to recover from your session,
Go to work more often. You mean that thing where you get up off your ass and go and you don't really need a supplement to help you? See, here's the thing with supplements and how people sell them. They sell you a problem that you don't actually have. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, that's unfair. What if I have this problem? And it's like, do you honestly want to go to work more often? Are you sure it's not? Are you sure it's because you don't feel well, or because maybe you hate your job? Oh, I need to train more. It's like every fantastic coach I have talked to, I've listened to, I've watched their videos, almost says the same thing. Working out more does not necessarily lead to more gains. Effective workouts and effective rest and recovery leads to more gains. More does not mean more all the time. A lot of times, less is more. I think J.M. Blakely has a series where it's like soar in 8 minutes. There's one exercise, and it's usually less than 10 minutes, but it's highly effective because, like, yeah, we're going to maximize the time you're in here so you can maximize your recovery. That's one method, but there are dozens of methods. Some people spend an hour in the gym. Some people spend 15 minutes in the gym. It's all about how you use that time. Going more often does not necessarily mean more gains.
more often, or just be the best you. Overtraining Solution is the product that you need.
Okay, we watched one ad. Sorry, Sadik, I'm not going to sit here through 2 ads of bullshit, okay? I'll do one. I'll do one for you. Okay. I feel like he could have gone a little bit harder. Look at us. We're so cool and stuff.
Yes, sir. 8 to 10, he said. We're going to work up 3 to 4 sets.
Okay, so another machine. I'm not a huge fan. I would like some free weights. Doesn't have to be a lot. I would like some. Work those stabilizers too. But we're going a preacher curl machine. I think that's what it is. Real simple stuff.
And then we're going to strip. Yeah, that's the warm-up.
No gripping the bar. I wonder what his reasoning for that is. Because I explained, there is a type of force increase when you do squeeze the bar. So I'm curious what he has to say about this. I hate his music so much. But it's not the worst, and it does give me some slight Street Fighter Third Strike vibes. I appreciate that he's gripping the bar at least, like a little bit. I appreciate that. Good habits. Does that mean it'll directly benefit this? I don't know. But it is a good habit to do. See, I'm trying to get better at talking more clearly and a little slower.
Yeah, 8 to 10. So it's going to be 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 10, and then we strip the last one. Yeah.
Okay, we just gotta watch a good curl, so let me break it up real quick. I might be saying, hey, why aren't you criticizing them for swaying a little bit? Honestly, this one's like more on the minor side. I think the ones before this were a lot worse.
What's going on, brother? Biceps could never be big enough.
Maybe.
Ever. Every inch matters in biceps and elsewhere. Use your imagination.
I already made one accidental weird joke. I don't want to make two. Although I probably will. Let's be real. It's happening. So, with these machines, these ones for example, I always find it really hard to get full range of motion on them. I'm not entirely sure why. But I do. The grip is definitely not helping since it angles his arms inward. So they would not be able to get straight.
Strip set, also called a drop set. Great weight.
I've never actually heard of a strip set. That is interesting. I know of drop sets. Obviously, they are the same thing with different names, but I've never heard that. So that's interesting.
To increase workout intensity, especially when you're in a crunch for time. So what that means is essentially you're going to be working your way up in weight. Let's say it's 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, and then back down with 0 to minimal rest in between.
I don't think that's what it is exactly. That sounds more like a pyramid scheme. Not pyramid scheme, but like pyramid training. So you go all the way up and then you come all the way back down. So curious. I don't know. Let's see how long this go. Do you have anything else to say? I might just skip.
A good training partner comes into play. You look at things like the strength, the struggle, the speed in order to determine how many reps and sets or when exactly to drop.
What is that? I bet that's some BCAA bullshit. Here's the thing, right? That might be. He's not selling it. I'm just making an assumption. For all I know, it's fucking Gatorade. If it is BCAAs, he wasted his money because that apparently does nothing. So, what we've learned here is that be careful with supplements. Anyway, let's continue.
So it takes somebody that knows you quite a bit.
But yeah, he's pretty correct on that. Having a very good gym partner is kind of pretty hard. I haven't had one since high school because I'm just not that close with anyone. Douchebag with very loud car and very small penises outside.
All right, next is seated dumbbell curl. 3 to 4 sets for 8 to 10 reps.
Oh, I just complained about them not using any free weights, but look at them now. All right. Good stuff. Okay, so I would complain about range of motion, but you probably have a pretty good bicep pump going, so that might not be going the way they want. And secondly, and possibly more importantly, is that fatigue is definitely setting in at this point. Like, they are slowing down a little bit.
Here, guys, is the bicep actually grows on the way down. Biceps don't grow from here to here. They grow from here to here. So at the bottom of the movement, flex your triceps in order.
That is a weird statement and not true. Okay, so what he's saying is the bicep does not grow on the concentric portion of the movement, which is false. It does. Now, do you get more stimulus from the eccentric or the weight coming down? Yes. But you cannot discount the concentric. Both are very important to growth and strength development. So, I don't know where the fuck he got this idea from, but it's wrong. The flexing your tricep at the bottom isn't a bad idea, though.
To elongate that bicep tendon even more. So at the bottom here, flex triceps and then pull. Down, stretch triceps, pull.
Interesting. He's curling a little high. Nothing wrong with what he's doing. Sadik might be swinging a little too much at the bottom of the rep. It's not like a huge deal, but he might be swinging a tiny bit too much, I think. Oh, we're getting another ad. Shoot. By the way, I just realized I can watch this in like the preview window, so it might be a little bit more beneficial to do that because I'll be facing the mic a little bit more. So the sudden audio shift in quality, that's probably why. Oh, hello, Rayshawn. Reshawn, whatever the fuck your name is. No. These games never make any sense. I don't even understand what's going on here. Like, I guess the idea makes sense, right? It's like, oh, math. And this would be good, but still, I don't know. So silly. Oh, we hit a bunch of people. Yay, it was so good. Okay, enough of that shit. Just not a fan. Yeah, see, he's getting to the point where he's so exhausted that he's using excessive swing to get the weight up. And this might be partially a result of his mindset that your biceps don't get much stimulus on the way up from curls, which is, again, is wrong. So, yeah, I think at this stage, he should probably like end the workwout or, better yet, lower the weight.
That's my biggest
No, that's cute.
What do you like about me? Is it the hair? Is it the good looks?
I would say the hair, because I like this guy's hair. It is fantastic.
Let's go. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, I got a question the other day. Is it okay to train on empty stomach? Yes, it's 100% okay to train on empty stomach. But if you're training for goals similar to mine, it's good to have some kind of fuel in the gas tank.
Yeah, pretty much. You can train on empty stomach or with something in your tummy. I don't think it makes much of a difference. I think performance wise, if you have some fuel in the tank, you'll do better. Just because you have something to run on. It's like the concept. If you've ever trained in the morning and you've also trained in the afternoon, you will always notice that you're stronger in the afternoon because you have a whole day's worth of food and drink in your system.
And the traditional bodybuilding meal is eggs and oatmeal. I am so sick and tired of eggs and oatmeal.
Because you shouldn't do that. Not that you can't eat those things. You absolutely can, but it's very boring.
That actually switch it up. So my breakfast this morning, 4 ounces of steak, 4 egg whites, and 8 ounces of red potato. So when you're looking for a pump, oatmeal doesn't give you that pump like a starchy carb, like a potato does.
I don't know if this is true. I'd have to look it up. But I don't think there's much difference between carbs other than like fiber content. But that's not even carbs. That's not even carbs itself. That's just like what's common within carby foods.
Morning. So if you're searching for that pump, try my steak, egg, and potato before you train.
Oh, we're doing more curls? God. Damn. We're doing a lot of curls. If you want to get back in biceps, I think what might actually be better is if you included some form of chin-ups in this routine. Probably towards the beginning, since it is a difficult compound movement. What is he doing? Oh, he's about to explain.
All right, we're doing hands inside the hips and 2-second hold at a time. Bicep piece. Scott knows.
So, this might be a little weird, but I don't think pausing, excuse me, I don't think pausing at the top of curls is as beneficial as like pausing at the squat, pausing at the bottom of a squat. And the reason for this is because if you do it right, the weight that you're using for the curl is going to be perpendicular to your elbow, which, again, if you do it right, will be straight down. So you're not getting any benefit from gravity in fighting gravity. So I don't think it's as beneficial as people would like to think.
Humble, baby. It's one of the most exciting parts of my day. And when people ask you what you do when you're not working out, what do you do when you're not working out? Thinking about working out. Thinking about tomorrow's workout.
Yep. And then like,
Yeah, he's
I really hope that's not the case, because that sounds like you're a boring motherfucker.
anticipating and fueling up for his next meal for his
How many of these has popped up? I know like 2 have popped up in the last like few minutes. But gosh darn, man.
workout.
And we are still going? My God. Okay. Listen, man. This is a crazy concept to some people, but you really don't need more than 6 exercises in like a training session. You really don't. Like, but I applaud him because he's going balls to the wall, and he has, obviously, he gets paid to do this. If you are a normal person who does not get paid to work out, this is super unnecessary. Oh, reverse curls. Reverse curls. Forgot what muscle it was. I want to say it's the brachialis. Can't remember. But reverse curls, you get some forearm action in there too. So, yeah, if you want big forearms along with bigger biceps, reverse curls are a bit of a better option since you get more benefit. But I think the actual bicep benefit's a little bit smaller. Great hair, though. Like, he has fantastic hair.
All right, easy bar reverse curl. What we're doing here is building our brachialis muscle. Brachialis is the
Brachialis. I was right. But that's not on the forearm.
side of the bicep. If you want big arms, start focusing more on hammer curls and reverse curls.
I mean, there's other things, but sure. Those are not bad options. Look at that. Very strict form. I like what he's doing here. Great stuff. Well, yep. Strict form again. Awesome.
All right, that's all she wrote, guys. That was your back thickness and bicep thickness day. My favorite day.
Alright, that's that video. That took a bit longer than I hoped it would. But I wanted to be thorough. He did a lot. There was a lot to talk about. I think the next one will be a little faster. But again, here's his channel. Sadik Hadzovic Man. Here's all this stuff. Here's comments. He gets lots of love. I think this video is fine. I have small criticisms, which honestly is pretty awesome. Like, I'd rather have small criticisms here and there than have huge criticisms. He was wrong on a couple things he said, but he wasn't like, it's not like he was off the target. He was just off the mark. So, pretty good video. I don't know if I would recommend his channel quite yet, but if you want to, Sadik had whatever. And the link to this video is in the description. Let's move on to video number 2. Video number 2 is by Erin Stern. We're not going through all of this. But essentially, this video is how to make gains on the Smith machine, the top 10 exercises. Published just a few days ago. I wanted something a little more recent. She has a pretty positive community. People do think she might be juicing a little bit. I will not confirm or deny because I don't know. But yeah, I mean, obviously you might have opinions on this guy. If he is, oh, that's nice. What a lifetime. Okay, well. Stuff. Anyway, so yeah. If you want her programs, they're right here. Of course, I prefer you go to my website and get a program for me, but whatever. Her contacts are right here. Website, Instagram, Pinterest, weird, Twitter, gay, Facebook, old person. All right. I have a Facebook, sure, but I use it to contact old people. So, yeah, if you have a Facebook, you're old and weird. Anyway, let's begin. We are rearing up at about an hour and 15. I do want to wrap this up, but I'm not going to rush this video. So, here we go. Unmute, and we shall begin. Cringe intro music. By the way, she has terrible audio issues that I will point out.
Hey, it's Erin. Let's talk about the Smith machine. This is one of those pieces of equipment that you're not on the fence about. You either really love it, you use it all the time, or you avoid it and think it's a silly machine.
I don't think that's particularly true, but yeah, I don't usually recommend the Smith machine to anyone. It has its benefits, it has its downsides. I just don't want people to become over reliant on it. That's what I would say about the situation.
I actually used to be in the latter group. When I was running track in college, it was free weights all the time. We would occasionally use machines, but the Smith machine was something we absolutely did not use. Now, I've come a long way.
I think when I was interested in being a collegiate strength and conditioning coach, I did visit the facility at my school, and I did not see very many machines. It was mostly free weights. It was there were machines, but they were machines that pretty much helped you work on body weight stuff, like a glute ham machine. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's quite interesting. It's a very good machine thing, but I don't have the words for it because I don't think it's actually a machine. But I think a machine covers what I need to cover.
In my evolution of bodybuilding, if you will, and I've really come to see the benefits of the Smith machine.
Her Instagram name is kind of pretentious. Hey, I won Olympia twice. I'm going to remind you of it all the fucking time. A little annoying, but sure.
I now think that there is no piece of equipment that is totally useless, and you can incorporate a lot of
Well, let's not go too far, Erin. Obviously, you haven't talked to Joel Seedman yet.
these machines for a better variety and for better strength gains. So the Smith machine has a few different benefits. If you're training by yourself, you need a spotter, you can actually set those safeties up on the Smith machine and be able to bench press or squat or do other heavy compound movements with a lot more confidence knowing that you have a spotter built in. The Smith machine also limits the use of stabilizer muscle. So if you're looking for a pure pull or a pure push and you want to...
Yes, this is something that occurs on most machines. Because you don't need to stabilize the weight, you can produce more force. I talked about this last video. On the last section. Whatever you might call it. But big thing is that because the machine's pretty stable, your body doesn't have to stabilize it. So you can produce more force and you can get a more pure experience. However, that does not replace free weights because those stabilizers are very important to train.
just focus on that target muscle, Smith machine can be really excellent for that. It's also really good for encouraging proper form. So if there's something specific you want to work on, you can set the machine up. It can also help to limit that range of motion. So again, those safeties are in place and you can really target specific muscle groups with it. You can also incorporate some pretty cool variations that are going to take your training to the next level. And that brings us to what this video is about. I've taken my top 10 favorite exercises on the Smith machine, and these, of course,
I think she needs to get her nails redone. Anyway, let's continue.
are kind of cool exercise variations that you can incorporate into your current routine and help you to see better results and help you have a bit more fun with training. Before we get into this video, please make sure to like and subscribe to join the Fit Fam. Without further ado, let's train. Hack squats are excellent for building quads, but maybe your gym doesn't have a hack squat.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Because this is not a training tip. This is a video tip for anyone who wants to make videos, especially workout videos. Have transitions. Like, you don't have to have transitions for all your things, but the fact that she was like, let's get to this, and then, oh, hack squat. It's like, okay, how about we go into it a little bit. I don't know. It could be a little smoother.
Machine. Well, you can set up the exact same thing right here on the Smith machine.
But yeah, she is right. A lot of gyms have a hack squat machine. However, that's not the majority, I don't think. Plus, it might be busy. Essentially, what it does is, you know what? You'll see from a different angle.
Now, really important to note that you do need a heavy plate in front of the bar. This is going to allow you to bring your body out away from the bar. So you want your feet about 2 to 3 feet away from the bar so that...
Here we go. On the hack squat machine, it pretty much does this for you. The reason why she has the weight right there is that it extends this immovable barrier. Your feet aren't going to move the weight because the weight's not going to move. So you can push against the weight and be stable. The hack squat machine kind of does this for you, especially because you're at an angle and it's kind of hard to push up anymore, especially with like a rough padded area to put your feet. So you also have the benefit of friction. But what a hack squat does is essentially it allows you to target the quads more than a regular squat because of how a regular squat is pretty much set up. You are going to get some core, you're going to get some glutes, you're going to get some hamstrings. Hack squat allows you to get a little more quads. Now, the deeper you go, the more the glutes get involved. But is that a problem? No.
that your upper body is perpendicular.
The major issue with this right here is that it's very hard to separate your feet and do this unless you have two plates. But you have to make sure they are equidistant apart because you don't want to create imbalances because, oh, I had different distances with the plates. So it's something that's, yes, this is an option, but it's not as beneficial as the real thing.
To the floor. Whereas with a normal squat, your weight distribution is going to be pretty even. You're going to be right under that bar. The hack squat, you're going to be ahead of the bar. This is going to emphasize those quads. Another way to really emphasize those quads is to push your weight through your toes. Keep your feet together.
I don't like that at all. Anytime you squat, people may disagree with me on this one, and that's absolutely fine. Your weight should be evenly distributed through your foot. In fact, I don't think your feet are balanced right here. They might be. It might just be the lighting. But yeah, push through your whole foot. Tripod, okay? Your heel, your big toe, and your small toe. Build good habits all the time.
As far as bar placement goes, you want that bar sitting right across your traps. And you want your forearms underneath the bar. Nice overhand grip. And you...
How the fuck would you do an underhand grip with this? I'm sorry. I hate when people say obvious things. It's like, do an overhand grip for something that's going to be behind your head. How am I going to do an underhand grip? Unless you just mean don't do a suicide grip. Which, yes, that's what it was originally called. But, people are all sensitive and they don't like the word suicide. So I'm going to say it 5 more times in the next few sentences. But the suicide grip is also known as the false grip. But the reason why it's called a suicide grip is because on bench press, if if you slip, you're pretty much committing suicide to a degree. Not necessarily because you'll probably survive, but like many suicide attempts, it usually doesn't work out the way you want it to. But that's the suicide grip.
You can go too parallel or you can go below parallel. Keep in mind, if you go a bit below parallel, you're also going to hit the glutes. So it's pretty great.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to say it right now. So she apparently decided to keep the gym audio and her voiceover. You don't really need the gym audio. You could put light music. You could turn the gym audio down a little bit more. Or you'd be like, oh, well, I like it for the ambiance of the gym. That's fine. But her voice, audio balancing, a little bit of bass would be nice. Sharpen it a little bit, like compressor, limiter. It's very much like I recorded this on my mic and that's about it.
Exercise. Our straight leg deadlifts are excellent for targeting those.
Okay, so the straight leg deadlift on the Smith machine is probably one of my lesser, I guess, least favorite exercises on the Smith machine. Because now, I guess this one works because hers is going straight up and down, but most Smith machines are angled. So it's not great. If you have a straight one, I guess that's a little bit better, but many of them are angled. So your straight path, like up and down path, is skewed a little bit, and it might teach you a little bit worse habits because you are forced into a path. That's the main issue with the Smith machine, is that it forces you into a certain path.
Hamstrings, a little bit of glutes. I've added a couple of plates here for a slight elevation. This is going to increase that range of motion. Now keep in mind, for that straight leg deadlift, it's very similar to
Also, since you are doing a voiceover, Erin, you could cut out your breaths. I'd appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
an RDL, except for the straight leg deadlift, you're going to be starting from the floor, pulling upwards, and that range of motion is a bit longer than the RDL would be. So you're going to take it down, get that full stretch. You can elevate those feet as much as you feel like. So if you've got an excellent...
I feel like she could finish through a little bit more.
Flexibility, excellent range of motion.
Like she's... but I can't tell.
Um,
1 second. My little vacuum came on because I'm going a little bit longer than I wanted to. I need to get up earlier for this, but that's something we're going to work on in the future.
You can definitely add some more plates here. Overhand grip that's about shoulder width apart. Make sure that back stays flat. At no time do you want the back to round at all. If it does start to round, you may want...
She could probably finish through a little bit more. Like, not much, though. It'd be, like, a very small amount. So, like, where her hips are right here, it could be right about here. But that's a very small critique. Obviously, when you reach these people who are, like, Mr. and Miss Olympia, a lot of them are going to have very good form, and I'm mostly going to critique the things they say rather than their form, particularly.
To decrease that range of motion. Next is the Zercher Squat. You might want to have a squat pad for this.
This is an underrated exercise. I love it, but it's definitely not something that you're going to have fun with the first time. It is actually quite painful. Because the weight is in the crux of your elbows, especially if you have heavy weights, it's going to be very uncomfortable. However, for those who can't do a front squat, this helps teach you how to use your upper back to keep from crumpling over. Really good exercise. I don't know how I feel about it on a Smith machine. I've never actually done it on a Smith machine.
One of my favorite squat variations. Don't be intimidated by this exercise. If you find squats particularly difficult, so if you've got a long torso or longer femurs, you're going to kind of fold in half when you squat. It's really important to keep that upper body more upright during the squat. The Zercher squat could be your key squat variation.
Also, to help, elevated heels. Also, these shoes are fucking terrible for the gym. Absolutely fucking shit. Running shoes, tennis shoes, terrible. Terrible for lifting. One of the worst shoes. You're better off with like skater shoes, Converse, lifting shoes. I really like Converse, like Chuck Taylor's, great. Minima shoes, tennis shoes, like running shoes, like these, really bad. Not great for the gym.
Now, of course, you want to start with just the bar, get the hang of the motion. Feet are going to be about shoulder width apart. You can push your weight through the heels to hit those glutes a little bit more, or you can push your weight more through the toes to
Or, how about neither of those, and you push through your whole foot and build good habits? Come on, Erin.
accentuate the quads. You want that bar to rest right in the crook of the elbows. Think about keeping that chest tall, keep the core tight, and you want to go 2 parallel or just below parallel with the upper leg. Moving on to calves. This is one of my favorite calf
You mean that thing I never train?
raise variations. Now, with a calf raise, you always want to think about driving your ankles towards your toes rather than lifting your heels up.
I've actually never heard of that, and I think it's pretty interesting for advice. Because a lot of exercises, the internal motion in your head, like what you're trying to do, does not always reflect the external motion. This one's been interesting because instead of driving your heels up, you want to drive them forward. It would probably result in better calves, and I should use them because I have big calves, but I don't have great calves.
This can be a tough cue to get, so by placing the band around the top of your
Wait, I'll let her finish.
ankle, you have that resistance that you're able to push against, and it really reinforces that cue of pushing those ankles forward.
The same thing can be done with the squat. People who have a hard time pushing their knees out during the squat, a lot of times coaches will put a band around, like, right above their knees. And what happens is that you're almost forced to push. Well, obviously you are forced to push against the band, and it will cause you to push your knees out instead of letting them cave in. And it's a really interesting idea that providing a small amount of force can help you realign what you're doing with your brain whole thing.
And just like every other exercise, you want to keep that core nice and tight. You want your body directly under the bar. You want your
A tight core is not necessarily a great core. People confuse the idea of a activated core with squeezing your abs. That's not necessarily the case. You're better off doing what we call is the Valsalva Maneuver or cannonball breathing. Essentially, you're going to fill your tummy up with air. Now, of course, you're not filling your stomach up with air. You're filling your lungs up with air. But you're breathing, but instead of expanding the chest, you're going to allow your stomach to expand. And once you've filled up, you're going to then squeeze down with your core and essentially create this very strong can that will prevent you from bending over or overstressing the back. It's something that I highly recommend a lot of people look into and learn how to do.
your legs straight, but you don't want to lock those knees out. And think about keeping a nice controlled range of motion here, so not too fast.
I hate when women wear makeup to the gym, but I've gotten so much push back on it that I just kind of let it go. Plus, she is just demonstrating. Obviously, none of this is very hard. Like, this is very lightweight, so just demonstrative purposes. I just hate makeup in the gym because I think it's not great for your eyes or anything else.
Don't rest too long at the bottom. Get that full squeeze at the top. Next is the hip thrust.
Okay, hip thrust. Awesome exercise, especially if you want to build glutes, and a lot of men need to build their glutes. On the Smith machine, though, I don't know if I'm convinced. Let's see what she has to say.
Now, if you have issues setting up a barbell hip thrust on your own, perhaps you can't quite do 135 pounds yet, or you have difficulty getting under the bar, the Smith machine hip thrust is your answer. This is an excellent exercise for glutes. A couple of things to keep in mind. You want to make sure you're keeping your sternum low, keeping your chin tucked, so you don't want to overextend here.
Okay, awesome first part. If you're not ready for the weight itself, like 135 pounds, sure. Because since there are, and these are a little bit newer, there are hip thrust machines. Okay? Not a lot of gyms have them. So, to do a hip thrust, basically, you have to do 135 pounds. Otherwise, you're going to have a very hard time getting under the bar unless you have like a partner. And not everyone has a gym partner. So, or they don't have like, the big rubber plates. Those also work. And if you don't have those, then you're going to have a hard time getting the movement started, getting set up. This kind of eliminates that problem since you can just unhook the bar by rolling it, by lifting it a little bit and rolling. Now you might be saying, well, can't you do that with free weights? Not necessarily, because you have to lift it and then move it away from the rack. So yeah, this is a good machine to do this on, especially if you have a straight path like this one does. Oh, and I think you could change the path too on this one. So this is a very good Smith machine.
Upon full extension, you do want your lower legs perpendicular to the floor. Really think about pushing your weight through the heel, keeping that core tight. Now,
so I've heard many different ideas on how to do the hip thrust, but essentially she's reaching full range of motion. Like you're not going to touch the ground because you're going to use too much quads because you'll have to start up the movement. And like
understand with the Smith machine, you're going to have a decreased range of motion, and that's okay. Simply focus on that up.
The reason why you're probably going to have a decreased range of motion is because you're restricted to one path. To get deeper, the bar has to move, but because you're restricted to this path, it can't move anymore. So, again, I think her range of motion is honestly fine. Where when your knees start tilting like towards your face, that's usually the bottom of the range of motion for this particular exercise.
Upper portion of the range of motion and keep tension on the glutes the entire time. You're really going to feel the burn. So again, excellent variation. If you can't quite get under the bar, it's a very easy setup. If you're interested in building upper body strength and power, the floor press is for you.
I don't know about this one. Especially because her arms are straight across. They should be at a 45-degree angle with her body. So I don't know about this one. Let's see what she has to say, but right now I'm not super happy with this one.
Smith machine is the perfect place to do the floor press. You've got a nice controlled range of motion. You don't have to.
Her shoulders are not pinned back. Pin those bitches back. Come on. Good habits, Erin. Just because it works like this and you can do it like this doesn't mean you should. Good habits.
Stabilize. You can focus on pure pressing power here. Think about a grip that is about 2 times shoulder width. So you want your...
That's interesting. Why? I guess maybe, no, I don't even say for a woman. Why? I would say just focus on the rings. Focus on the rings or use your thumb as an indicator. 2 times shoulder width? That's really interesting.
Lower arms to be about perpendicular to the floor. Nice overhand grip with your thumbs wrapped around the bar. Really important. You want your back nice and flat.
Okay, that's another one I don't agree with. So, anytime you're doing a pressing movement, you want to pretty much start off with the bench press. Right? That's your baseline. When you do a pressing movement, especially on your back, you want at least a slight arch. If you're doing powerlifting, you're going to have more of an arch. But you want at least a slight arch. Why? Because your back is not straight. No one's back is straight. Number 2, and second reason is because there's a very good habit to do when you do any kind of pressing movement. You're going to take your shoulders, you're going to pull them down, so pull them towards your hips, and you're going to pull them back towards into the ground. This creates a very stable and strong position to where your shoulders are nice and safe. Now, personally, I do it in the opposite way. So I pull them back, and then I lock them down. I don't know why I said it the other way before. I shouldn't have. So ignore that. But pull them push them into the bench, and then lock them down towards your hips. This will create a very safe and stable position for your shoulders, and it will cause you to arch a little bit. Now again, if you're just doing this for bodybuilding purposes, your arch will be small. You should be able to slip a hand under there. If you're doing it for powerlifting purposes, it should be quite a bit bigger. Not like so big like some of these insane videos you see where the person looks like they're breaking their back in half. But it should be a pretty decent amount. This is too little. Do not do a flat back. I resent that. And you might be saying, well, it's a floor press. It's different, and I'm on a Smith machine. Build good habits. Just because you could do it with lightweight does not mean you should be doing it at all. If you're not going to do it with light weights, you can't really trust yourself to do it with heavy weights. And on a Smith machine, again, you should be able to produce more power on a Smith machine. So your form should be even more important. I think this one's terrible. Not great. No, you're better off doing a bench press, I think. No. I don't like this one at all.
Nice, solid foundation.
And her elbows are so high, and she's not pinning her shoulders or anything. Like, even if you do it, okay. So let's say we're doing a wide grip, and we're going to do the same thing. Okay? Now you can do this seated in your chair. Just have it normal, and now take your imaginary bar, go all the way down. Now, this is a floor press, so you're not going to go all the way down. You're going to stop around when your elbows are in line with your back. Now, if you're like me, this is already hurting your shoulder. Okay? Now, let's do the same thing, but with the same cues, even with the elbows high, which I still don't recommend. Okay? So, push your shoulders into the bench, so just backwards into your chair, and then pull them towards your hips. Okay? Now do it. My shoulder feels a little bit better. My chest is getting a crazy stretch, but my shoulders do feel a bit better. So, even if you're going to do it with elbows high, you should do the same exact cues with your shoulders. Now, if I tuck in my elbows, even a little bit, right? Not a lot. So, okay, this is perpendicular, so let's go right around here. God, that really hurts. So I'd say that's about 70 degrees. Okay, if I was 70 degrees, then I did the same thing. Shoulders still feel better. Now, again, same cues, back, down, even better. So, yeah, I think this one's definitely the worst one. I have little comments about the other ones, but this one's bad. Like, what she's telling you to do is not good.
Here, keeping your lower arms underneath the bar, think about slowly lowering, spending just a second to diminish all use of momentum and really power that bar up. Again, slowly lower it, power it up again. And if at any point you do fail, you've got several hooks here that you can use.
Yeah, no, I think this is absolutely the worst one she's recommended so far.
Really great for overall chest development and front delt development. Next, we're moving on to a great back exercise. This is a wide grip bent over row. Now, I love the Smith machine for the wide grip bent over row because just like the floor press, you are taking out any stabilizers. So you've got the ability to pull and really focus on use.
Okay, so I don't think I have much to say about this one. I wish she's kind of high with this, but the bent over row has a lot of variations depending on your height, so that's not a huge thing. If I wanted to criticize anything, well, let's let her finish since this one's not as bad as the last one.
Using the Smith machine to help with balance and just focusing on the back. Now here you want to make sure that you keep your wrist straight, overhand grip, and even though it's wide grip, you want to try to think about keeping your elbows in just a bit.
What? Oh, you're going to tell them to keep their elbows in on this one, but not on the floor press? Fuck off.
Core tight, and
remember, core tight does not mean core's right. You want to do cannonball breathing. There's videos on it. Go check it out. Really good stuff.
don't use momentum at all. So the only movement should be coming from your upper body.
Why don't we use momentum, you might be wondering? Well, when you use momentum, you're cheating yourself a little bit. She's not going to explain it. So, when you're bouncing the weight, even slightly, it's easier to move a weight, I think it's Newton's second law? Not sure. But it's easier to move a weight that's in motion. So, if you pause at the bottom, and then you move again, it's going to be harder than if you just hit the bottom and come up. Now, is that easy to do? No, not necessarily. But it is a bit easier than stopping and starting something from rest. This can be seen if you do a dead stop push-up. Basically, do a push-up, and at the bottom, on the ground, everything remains tight and ready to go. But take your hands off the ground for just a second, so you lose all of that momentum. Then put them back on and repeat. You're going to be able to do a lot less reps because you're not in constant motion. You have completely stopped your momentum. And that's basically what she's asking you to do here.
And pulling from the back.
She should, okay, so she's not including a very important cue that I recommend to my clients, is that pull with your elbows, don't pull the weight. So essentially, think of it like this. From your elbow down is dead. So you just focus on pulling this elbow as high as you can, because all of this is dead. This is all part of the weight. The weight is attached here. So if you focus on pulling this up, your mind will target the back more, rather than thinking about pulling this weight up.
Think about squeezing your shoulder blades together at the top and controlling the weight back down. Develop strong shoulders with this exercise. So you're going to load the bar up with weight that
what the fuck is she doing? Wow.
you can easily do with both hands, but is difficult with just one. We're going to work on some forced negatives here. So we've got...
Wait. Forced negatives? I see. Okay.
alternating arm, single arm negative shoulder press. And really focus on just
Are her eyes closed? I can't tell. I hope not. That's not great.
pressing the weight up. Should be relatively easy. And controlling that weight down. So again, this is going to be a weight that's heavier than you would normally go for single arm presses. Excellent for building that strength.
So, why can't we do this here but not any other time? Okay? It's a Smith machine. The weight is on a path and it's not going to deviate from that path. So, you can almost treat this as a giant dumbbell. Now, what she's doing, a forced negative is you're focusing on the eccentric, the way down. This is the time where the muscle can produce the most force. However, here's the thing. Just because you can produce the most force does not mean you could just move that regularly. Right? If you are a 400-pound squatter. No, not squatter. Let's do bench press. If you can bench 400 pounds and then I put 415 on there, you might not be able to do it. Right? You might not be able to get it up and then get it back down. What you might be able to do is fight it on the way down. And that's a lot of force you could produce on that muscle, especially because you're forcing it to lengthen, but essentially it can produce more force like that. Basically, what she's doing is taking advantage of that. So, yes, this is a lot of weight for one arm, but for one of her arms anyway. But it's easy for two. So she sets it up high with two arms, and then she takes one down, and then allows the arm that's still on there to fight the weight down. This is actually, like, I'd say this is pretty clever, like a really clever use of the Smith machine. Like, I thought this was really silly at first, but this is pretty clever. I like this one. I like this one a lot. Never thought of it before.
For building nice round cap delts, keep your core tight and make sure that you're not using momentum. Make sure that from left to right is a mirror image. So you want to make sure you're performing the exercise exactly the same. Really go nice and slowly so you can focus on using just the delts.
What she could do, I would prefer, is if she scooted up on the bench a little bit more, because the weight is coming down like pretty low on her chest. I don't like that very much.
Overhand grip, thumbs wrapped around the bar.
Okay.
A lot of arm movements you'll find are isolated.
Inverted rows. Don't necessarily need this on the Smith machine, but it is a great exercise regardless.
Movements, so they don't give you a great calorie burn. The inverted row is excellent for increasing calorie burn and for hitting those biceps. Just
What? Okay. Number one, increasing calorie burn. If it does increase it, it's by a very tiny degree. Like, it's negligible at best. Two, hitting biceps. Not necessarily, right? Like, essentially, we're doing this like a chin-up. So, yes, your biceps will get a good stimulus, but also your back will. So, relegating this to just a bicep exercise, not my favorite. You could do a different variation of this to do that. The body weight curl. This is more of a back and bicep exercise.
just want to make sure that you're using an underhand grip and that your thumbs are wrapped around the bar. You also want to be up just enough to where your lower arm hits about perpendicular to the floor. So you want that bar to hit just about mid-chest area. This is going to help further emphasize the biceps. And you can also look over at your biceps to make sure that they're engaging. Keep your body.
Are we just going to ignore the back benefits? Okay, sure. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not mad. I'm kind of mad, but that's fine.
In plank position. So you want to keep your hips at the same height, in line with your shoulders, in line with your heels.
Yes, all of this should be one solid piece.
We're going to hit some triceps here with an overhand triceps extension.
Again, don't need a Smith machine for this, but great exercise. I've heard of this more as a bodyweight skull crusher, and if you aim for right under your chin, it's the bodyweight JM press. All of them are great, by the way.
So you want to get into plank position. This exercise can be adjusted depending on your strength levels. So if you feel like you're maybe just starting out, get a little bit closer to the bar and perform something that looks more like an incline close grip push-up.
Okay. Yeah, I like this idea. I like the idea of, lesser variations for people who don't have the strength for the harder ones.
You get stronger, move away from the bar just a little bit by pulling your feet back. And then you'll think about tucking your head under the bar and getting that extension. Now with any triceps exercise, you want to make sure that you're keeping that upper arm immobilized for the most part. So the most of the movement is going to be coming from your elbow.
Okay, so if this is going to be aiming at the triceps, I would highly recommend that she gets her hands a little bit closer together. Like, they're a little bit too far apart for my taste if we're going to do a overhead tricep extension or anything triceps in this motion. Exactly.
Some things to consider when using the Smith machine. Not all Smith machines are created equally.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Some have, hers was really awesome since you could adjust the bar path a little bit, but a lot of them have a absolutely fixed bar path. Like, it will go this way and you're not changing it ever.
So for example, if you have one of those dinosaur pieces of equipment in your gym that, let's say it goes at an angle like this, or let's say the starting weight of the bar is like 65 pounds, you're not going to be able to do some of these exercises.
Yes, thank you. I'm happy she's addressing it this now.
But some of the other exercises might be enhanced. So if you think about it, maybe your straight leg deadlift, your RDL, or your rows can be even better on that slanted Smith machine. Now,
I wish she's not going to explain why, because I don't even know why they might be enhanced.
Now, if the bar itself is 65 pounds, you do run into some issues with that. The typical weight on a normal Smith machine for the bar, unweighted, is about 10 to 15 pounds. So, like your single arm shoulder press, that can be easily done on a regular Smith machine.
Now, we are, I know she's saying, oh, well, 60 pounds might be a lot, and you might be thinking, no, it's not, but her channel is more geared towards women, okay? Women like watching women, men like watching men and women. Keep that in mind, who her target audience might be.
If you have one of those dinosaur mega Smith machines, again, you might have to make some modifications or choose another piece of equipment. Unfortunately, if you try some of these exercises and you love them, please tag me on social media. It's really cool to see you take the videos and the workouts and make them your own. That's it for this time. Until next time, train smart and train hard, y'all.
She said y'all, so she
How do
from
you
Texas.
sweat?
No. She said y'all, so she from Texas. I'm from Texas too, but regardless, it's getting a little thick. Anyway, so this is her channel. Miss Olympia, 2-time Miss Olympia. I like her better without the lipstick. I'm gonna be honest. I think the lipstick's not great. But yeah, this is her channel. These are all her links again. She even sells funny mugs with an S and other letters. But oh, Erin Stern Fitness ESF. God, her name's way better than mine. God dang it. Oh, running gear, selling stuff. I don't care. If you want to watch this video, the link is in the description. I think this was pretty good other than the floor press. I think the floor press was fucking dog shit. But other than that, this one's pretty good stuff. Nice positive community. You'd definitely be welcome here. So, as long as you're not creepy. But yeah, that was the coverage for today. So, for next time, I'm not entirely sure we're going to do this, but I'm thinking of a Batman arc. Little short, like 2 videos covering Batman's training. We could talk about, different concepts. A lot of them talk about concepts, but they don't apply exercises. So we might try to program a little bit, not an official program, but be like, okay, so, for this concept, we can use this or that. That's what I'm thinking there. But I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that. I do want to cover Jack's Blades. Jack's Blades. Gosh, that is a terrible name to say when possessive. Jack's Blades video for Batman. I'm thinking the Pioneer. I think both those channels are very good. Again, might have small criticisms here and there, but I think if I could point you to something that's a little more fun, because as much as I like these videos, they are very meathead focused. But if we go to the more nerdy stuff, where it's like fitness and nerdy stuff combined into something awesome, that might be pretty good to do. So, yeah, I'm thinking of a Batman arc next week. Other than that, I think that's the video. We are going kind of long. We've almost hit 2 hours. 2 hours might be the normal time span now. I'm not entirely sure. But, yeah, that's the video. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for commenting and chatting with me. Hope you learned something. Go check those videos out. Go check out those channels. Maybe you'll like them. Maybe you don't. Maybe you think Erin Stern's cute. Maybe you think Sadik's handsome and you just want to stare at them, move weight, and be all sweaty. Or maybe you think they provide good information. Regardless, I do coaching, and all my links are in the description. The links to the videos are in the description. I'll see you next week. Have a good rest of your day.